Good evening, everybody. Saturday night football greets us at the halfway stage of the NPL New South Wales men's season. In the heart of Sydney's western suburbs, a clash of the new and old powerhouses in the heartland of Australian football. Big implications at the top of the NPL New South Wales table tonight. Alex Molchanov along with you for the Western Sydney Wanderers versus the Marconi Stallions. Let's take you straight to the team news. A little bit of it for both coaches tonight. Andrew Christensen makes 4 changes to his Wanderers side that defeated Olympic here 3-2 last weekend. In goal starting again is Tiger Harper behind a back 4 of number 6, Dylan Cicluna. Donny Kurdic partners young Roman Chelina in the heart of defence with Jesse Cameron in at left fullback. A midfield 3 of number 25 Riley Hollingdale, number 10 Alex Battalato and number 14 the captain Zach Sapsford behind an attacking trident of number 7 Marcus Eunice, number 23 Marcus Fernandez and number 11 Adam Bugaria. 2 changes for the Stallions after their 3-0 loss to Blacktown City last weekend, and they're both enforced. James Tempelkowski and Nathan Milgate both sent off in that game for Peter Sekenis, so they start like this. In goal is number 1 James Hilton again. Cameron Windust shifts to the centre of defence alongside Anton Mulinaric. Brandon Vella back to right back with George Daniel at left back. A midfield 3 of number 11 Hiroaki Ayama, number 8 Daniel Bauman, and into the side tonight number 16 Liam Yuley. A front 3 for Sekenis of number 7 Franco Maya, number 6 Dominic Costanzo, and the captain standing over the football to get us underway tonight, Marko Jesic. Ivica Kovic is our centre referee, and Jesic, patient as ever, gets us underway with one of his players offside. So a slight false start from both sides. This is a clash going right to the top reaches of the table in New South Wales football tonight. The Wanderers have sat for so long at the top of that tree in this early season, an unprecedented start for them at this level of football. League leaders as late as round 14, which they were thanks to that dramatic win over Sydney Olympic last weekend. The challenge now for Andrew Christensen is maintaining that standard. That's proved a little bit more difficult than perhaps he would have liked. 2 losses in their last 3 after that strong start. Anything less than a win tonight will see the red and black of Rockdale sitting top at the halfway stage of the season rather than the red and black of Western Sydney. Not as partisan a crowd as we're in for that dramatic win against Sydney Olympic. New South Wales banning spectators due to a few flares being let off and a pitch invasion late in that game. So if you are watching on the stream tonight, welcome. Glad to have your company. Slightly different story for Marconi. They've started the season consistently, but not spectacularly. United 58 was a real kick in the teeth a month ago. That loss to Blacktown City, which has taken away their leader at the back and the front, really, in terms of their top scorer, Tempelkowski, and their defensive heartbeats. Nathan Milgate they'll have to find another route to goal tonight and another way to stymie this free-flowing attack of the Wanderers, and perhaps maintaining possession and getting themselves forward is the best way to do that. They've won an early corner. And as for the few officials and certainly the referees out in the middle, all in long sleeves tonight, winter has finally arrived at the midway point of this NPL New South Wales men's season. Dangerous ball whipped in by Oyama. Lenaric was the target. Little battle for it on the far side. Bulgaria's got all the way back from his attacking position to do some defensive work. Maya striking with his left foot. Hasn't he been a handy addition for Peter Sekenis through the first half of the season after making the move from St George City? It's one of the standouts last year. He's got plenty of experience overseas in his native Uruguay in their professional divisions. Certainly doing the research, as we do as diligent commentators for this game. There are some Terrific individual stories to be told amongst the players on both teams, which we'll get to throughout the game. Not least the Wanderers goalkeeper Tiger Harper, who is so impressed with his early season performances. A spectacular shot stopper, terrific athlete. The story of Marcus Eunice is becoming more and more familiar to close followers of Australian football, but he's turned that one over. George Daniel gets Marconi going the other way. Dominic Costanzo, long touted as a player who could make the jump to A-League level from this division. Daniel Bowman, and then touched in! Flag stays down, and Marconi take an early lead. It's Liam Yulee, I think, who got the final touch. Really out of nothing, a ball hoisted up high into the air. And in fact, it was Meyer showing his eye for goal. Marconi won't care what the name is. They found an early lead. And the Wanderers, as has been the trap they've fallen into over the past month or so, concede a soft early goal. Just puts them behind the 8 ball. These strong, experienced opponents have been the problem for them. Their form against teams lower down the table has been near perfect, but the 3 losses this season, early in the year to Rockdale Illingdon, and a 6-0 thumping against RP Leichhardt, although it was with a fair few of their star turns out on A-League's duties. And then the 3-2 loss to Sydney United 58, who are full of battle-hardened players, but they've got an attacking flair in abundance. Zach Sapsford equalises as quickly as Marconi took the lead. It's going to be that sort of night. Well, hold on to your hats, folks. You always expect goals when the Western Sydney Wanderers are in action, but we've got 2 in double quick time. Sapsford got a big slice of fortune, but he won't mind. Our captain's goal is the equaliser. 6th of the year for the Wanderers skipper, if indeed he ends up being credited with it. Marconi, who are, well, really known for their defensive discipline, have been picked apart by a nice piece of interplay on the edge of the penalty area. And Hilton thought he had it covered before one of his own defenders' legs got in the way and deflected the ball over the top of him. Frantic start, just as we had a frantic finish last weekend in this fixture, or in the fixture that was played here, rather. It's almost as if both teams weren't really ready. Marconi barely celebrated their opener, and certainly they were ready to hang their heads as they conceded. Marcus Eunice, who pulled off that back heel for the assist, will be credited with it. Mentioned in the very, very early stages the acclaim he is drawing from all and sundry. It wasn't from the last week's departed coach Marco Rudan, the senior team initially, but he has spoken in the past about the talent which Eunice possesses, which doesn't take a footballing genius to see. Now there was an appeal for a foul there from Marconi, but play has been allowed to continue. The ball's come back for Battleato. Still there, deflecting around, and Hilton is relieved to see Bulgaria's touch just pop the ball up in the air rather than flick it towards goal in the same vein that Marconi got their goal. Jesic trying to play the cool head. Oh, he worried if Marconi might struggle for goals, but they're looking dangerous every time they get forward at the moment. Costanzo Oh, he's turning and curling that one towards the far post. It was not far away. He's got that ability, Tom Costanzo. It's not been the best start to the season for him, certainly by his own high standards. Certainly be looking to arrest some of that form. It's not to say he hasn't provided moments for us to remember in this early season. He certainly has, but just not quite been as numerous as quite often they are. Wanderers are moving the ball around beautifully in these early stages. All that wide was picked off. Meyer looking for a slide rule ball for his opposite winger. Costanza got a touch to it, but it was a diligent piece of defensive work from Jesse Cameron back there. Free kick given Marconi's way. They might just feel they've got a little bit of the rub of the green in those terms in the early stages. And for the first time tonight, we have a measure of calm. Well, the Wanderers won't feel that way. Peter Sukenis is already calling for yellow cards. Jackson Mackey's going to have a job on his hands as the fourth official tonight. Meyer, infield for Oyama, beautifully cultured left foot. That ball didn't find Jesic, which was his target. Tall figure of Baumann retains possession on the edge of the area. Brandon Vella shifting back to right fullback tonight after starting a little bit higher up the pitch last weekend. Some chance here. Oh, and that was coming together. Not one that required a whistle, according to referee Kovic, who now stops play. Third time lucky. I've had that confirmed now. Hiro Oyama is going to be credited with that first goal. So a second of the year for Marconi's Japanese midfielder. Might be the cleverest of all of them. And Meyer's looking to add a second here. He's got a bullet of a left foot if he is allowed time and space. Getting across to make the block in the nick of time was Riley Hollingdale. He's having to get it through quite a bit of work in the early stages. Mentioned a few of those changes for the Wanderers. No Nathaniel Blair, who no doubt will be off on the start of his off-season as a player. I'm sure the Wanderers are looking to have into their senior squad at some stage next season. Marcus Yunus still getting action midway through May. Stepping forward was Chelina. You'll recognise that name. His father Jason is with us in the stands tonight, watching on. Former Socceroo. Gorgeous touch from Dylan Cicluna. Player's been included in a number of first-team squads over the course of the year. Got 16 A-League appearances over the course of the senior men's season. That's a poor turnover from Windust. Has A-League experience himself with the Central Coast Mariners.
Played forward, was looking for Bulgaria. Couldn't bring it under his spell. He's another who's got goal-scoring threat about him. What a gorgeous touch that was from Badalato. Even better. What a move from the Wanderers again. And Hilton is at full stretch to deny and then aware that the ball could have been dropping under his crossbar. A second touch not required, but a Wanderers corner kick nonetheless. Marcus Fernandez was involved in that move with Sapsford, and Badalato moving off the left. This is a Wanderers team full of firepower. Not afraid to show off their talent. With a couple of years together now, an inherent understanding as well. What can they produce from the set piece? It's a ball that didn't beat the first man in Bauman, but get a second bite at the cherry. Hollingdale took the first. He'll be entrusted with the second. Signals being made towards those in the penalty area. Every Marconi player, except Dom Costanzo, you can see his shot is inside the area. Mlinaric raised highest, and it's thumped back in and beaten away by Hilton. Cicluna catching that so sweetly. And James Hilton has been the busier of the two goalkeepers in the opening quarter of an hour, which has raced by. Hollingdale again going short. Not sure Badalato expected it. Cicluna has already shown us his shooting boots. Likes to give it back to the taker. It's towards Yunus, who rose high. It's always going to be a big ask to get that one back on target, but he made a right fist of it, Marcus Yunus. He's a player looking hungry for goals at the moment. So the Wanderers, as a whole, are at the moment. And they've looked the better of the two sides, which has not been unusual for them this season in the early stages, despite copping that early goal to Oyama inside 5 minutes. It's not Hilton's best ever goal kick. Wind is blowing back towards him tonight, so that wouldn't have helped, but I think it would have struggled to reach halfway even without that. Now, George Daniel has just blocked Marcus Yunus off right below us. Ball obviously not in play, so he can't be blown for a free kick. It certainly could have been booked. Hadovic decided that was necessary. It's a treatment that a player of his talent going to grow used to over the course of his career. For most, it's the only way they'll be able to stop him. A risky ball back. So had to just be thumped away by Jesse Cameron. His opposite number, Brandon Vella, can only hook it out for an attacking throw for Western Sydney. Cicluna for Sapsford. Lovely touch inside. Badalato just couldn't get it out of his feet. Vella's got to be very careful because the Wanderers will press high the way Andrew Christensen loves his teams to play. They're playing with freedom and confidence at the moment. Sapsford's strike skipped in front of Hilton. Yunus trying to make a little bit of a nuisance of himself in the aftermath. Marconi are going to look more and more direct just to get themselves out of pressure. At the moment, that early goal has not stymied the energy and enthusiasm of their hosts. It's a problem Olympic found after they thought they'd saved the game last weekend. The Wanderers have a second wind. They certainly have more gears to go to if required. Cicluna just running himself into a little bit of trouble. Meyer drifting in field. Bauman is picking up a lot of space when Marconi are able to work the ball forward to him. Costanzo chose to cross. Meyer fired it back in. And Chelina with a cool head just to play it out of trouble rather than hacking it clear. Now Cicluna is such a beautiful, cultured ball player. Picked out Yunus, but if he'd read it better, might have been able to keep it in. little bit of an eerie feel around the Wanderers football park tonight. Football has been red hot, thoroughly engaging. Eunice is hunting defenders, as is his wont. George Daniel and Anton Lonaric figuring it out between them. Beautiful curl ball for Jasic, who's picked up a space in the channel. He's made a career out of that. Now what's the option? It's a square ball. Yuli can line up from distance. Gives it back to his captain. And then turned over. Good piece of defending from the Wanderers. This game has just been played at an absolutely frantic pace. The conditions helping that. Baumann is enjoying the pace and the tempo. Jasic drifting wide this time. Costanzo won't be afraid to take on the two defenders in front of him. Got to the byline, stood it up to the back post, and there was no one in green waiting. Bulgaria was looking for the run of Eunice, who'd held it up. Wanted it released more quickly. This is where the Wanderers have got to look out for Marconi because they're so clever. Jasic just strayed. Not too often he isn't able to time his run, Marco Jasic, but Patrick Teleki's got the flag on the far side there tonight. Said he moved a step early. If you are just joining us, you missed a frantic start to this one. The Wanderers going behind inside 5 minutes through Hiroaki Oyama. Managed to get a back heel or an outside of a boot, not quite sure which. Ended up in the back of Tiger Harper's net, and the Wanderers had equalised 2 minutes later through their captain tonight, Zach Sapsford. Ducking and weaving move from Badalato. Eunice. And then thumping it forwards was Jesse Cameron. Into the body of the goal scorer Oyama. Back there doing some defending of his own. Lovely dummy from Badalato, who's just been so present everywhere. And Bulgaria taking a big swing at that one and catching Liam Yuli in the back. There's no hard feelings between those two. Although I think Yuli will feel he might have had a free kick. Bulgaria making enough contact with the football. Sapsford's been the focal point of the attack. It's an easy thing to say as the man who scored the goal, but it's been truth in the build-up to their play as well. Badalato just floating in and around him. Eunice again going to ground under a challenge from George Daniel. This time, Ivica had a think about it. And now this will cause some confusion for the players because Ivica is pointing to an incident a couple of minutes earlier where Daniel blocked off Eunice while the ball was out of play, so he couldn't blow a free kick. He didn't think it was fitting of a yellow card. I'm sure that's what he's explaining to Marco Jasic, who's not best pleased with the explanation. We'll put it that way. Daniel, I think, has been told that is his last chance. Wanderers do have a reward in the form of an attacking free kick, which young Riley Hollingdale is over to take again. He's got 3 goals so far this season. I don't think he'll be heading there, although Hilton is leaving a lot of space towards his near post. It is the cross. Jasic is back to head away. Knocked back in and not really dealt with completely convincingly by the Stallions, but they do enough. Just tidied up at the back there by Vela for his goalkeeper. Well, Hilton is sparkling in pink tonight, but wasn't a sparkling piece of distribution. The 18-year-old Chilena. The top. Eunice timed his run to perfection. then lost his footing. This time Daniel wins the ball cleanly, and that was always coming, wasn't it? There's the square up. Nothing untoward. Just a young player protecting himself, but certainly George Daniel will be thinking twice about diving in on Eunice again. It's been an engaging little battle for the neutral. Certainly it's going to have both of them feeling sore in the morning. Couple of concurrent games to update you on throughout the night. First of the results this afternoon is finished at Christie Park, where RPL Leichhardt have run out 2-0 winners over the Northwest Sydney Spirit. That jumps them over the Wanderers as well now. So on the live ladder, Western Sydney, in fact, would sit just above them if results were to hold. Some complaints about quite how close that ball was to the touchline, with Daniel making the run forward. In the end, it came to nothing, and the Wanderers probably got the preferable outcome. But that RPL Leichhardt result does mean if the Wanderers fall tonight, they will drop down to third after entering the weekend as the league leaders. Eunice is becoming more and more animated. Marconi really are chipping away at his composure. Just little flicks off the ball and touches that are beginning to get under Eunice's skin, and this time Yuli with a less than polite challenge on Badalato, and I think that'll be his final ticking off. Ivica is showing plenty of patience, but I think it's fast running out. Mentioned it was a battle between new and old in the heartland of Australian football in the pre-game. Certainly that feeling is just finding its way into the actions of the players as this first half wears on. Windust almost having to rugby tackle Sapsford out of the way. This game is really getting very, very physical. Sapsford runs that one down, and well, the touch was there, and it's a goal kick. I don't know whether it is the fact we don't have any spectators in here tonight, but every complaint can be heard by the referee. Anton Milonaric and Sapsford having words now. On a freezing cold night, temper's getting a little hot. Midway stage of this first half. Convincing win in midfield by Fernandez, who's been good in those aerial duels for a man who's not the tallest. Hollingdale, such a cultured ball player. Guardia is deep as we've seen him so far today, trying to get involved in all this fun going forward. His pass was picked off. Costanzo. Floated ball over the top for Baumann, who's trying to make something of it. It was well dealt with by Gurdic. Now there's a chance for Cicluna to get forward from left full back, which he loves to do. Badalato teammates for a couple of seasons now. That inherent understanding down the left, which I've talked about a little bit already. Yama's enjoying the pace of the game. Rather less the referee. He found himself in the way there. Play will be restarted with a drop ball in Marconi's favour. Costanzo's not looking to be patient. He might have been better advised to just wait a while. I think that will end up being the message from Sekenes at some point, whether it takes all the way to half-time for us to get to that stage. But the quicker that the game is unfolding in terms of tempo, the more the Wanderers seem to be enjoying it. Certainly they look the more likely to score the third at the moment. Sapsford trying to shrug off the attempts of wind dust. I think the linesman has given a foul throw there. Yuli's ball forward is a little bit of a hit and hope, and Marconi's attacks are being restricted to that at the moment. They can't get out of their own half. Wanderers, since they went behind really in the 4th minute, have looked by far the better of the two. In terms of pressure and possession, this is where they might be able to be got at in transition, which is Marconi's forte. Maya was searching for the outlet, the consistent outlet of Costanzo. It's Bauman who's trying to take on defenders in that corner, stepping across. Beautifully timed Chelina, who's showing us he's a smart reader of the game, and even at his young age. Advantage played by Ivica Kovic as Yunus streams forward. It was just one heavy touch that brought the run to an end. Winder saw it from a long way out and timed his challenge. Costanzo over the top. Holding in the air. That was an awkward one for Chelina. Oh, and then Jesic was certainly caught as he looked to play that ball in. Cicluna looking slightly bemused, but there was clear contact between he and the Marconi skipper. There have been a number of these late challenges that have been going in from both sides. Marconi's turn to reap an attacking free kick from this situation. Meyer is not quite happy with the placement of his teammates inside the penalty area. I think he'll be testing Tiger Harper at his far post here, whipping it into that area of apprehension for goalkeepers. That's exactly what he's done. What a save by Harper. Keeps the scores level. Well, he's known for his superb shot stopping, and there's another example from the young Wanderers keeper. Oh, and now Marconi come with a press as the Wanderers look to play out. Hollingdale did very, very well not to get caught in possession in a dangerous spot. And now the attack might be on. Cicluna is onside, and he's got options in the middle. Instead, he looked to catch Hilton out. And the Marconi goalkeeper had it judged all the way. Mentioned those concurrent games. I brought you the RPS Spirit score. Hills United taking on Blacktown City. That game at 0-0 at the moment. St George FC have taken a 2-0 lead over their local rivals, the Sutherland Sharks, approaching half-time. Manly United and Wollongong have just kicked off, as well as St George City and Sydney United 58. The scores in both those games sit 0-0. Ball over the top, Jesic. Maya this time had no one attacking that far post. Tiger Harper's had a fine start since he conceded early doors. Terrific save from the header of Windust. He might have another challenge here. Costanzo's slipped his defender, but was off balance as he looked to steer the ball towards goal. Marconi have managed to work their way back into this match. They absorbed a lot of pressure after the equaliser and managed to see it out. Wanderers have been insistent on their intent to play out. It's actually the longer ball that was turned over there. Daniel Marconi looking for a big scalp. It's been a while since they've had one in this competition. Thought they had one against Sydney United 58 a couple of weeks ago when they led 2-0. Ended up falling 3-2. Wanderers counts as a big one, considering their early season form in the NPL New South Wales this year. It was after they narrowly stayed out of the relegation playoff series last year. A team that are largely the same core, a year older, a year wiser, and a lot of them with quite a few more games of A-League men's experience. Times dropping back down to this level has seemed a bit of a walk in the park. No, that was not going to be the case tonight against this strong Marconi side. Lovely touch from Sapsford, and there's a chance here again, blazed wide by Badalato, who had a big chance to win the game in this fixture at Fairfield Showground last year. Game that finished in the end 3-3. What was a pulsating affair. This one's following along the same lines. Might just have flashes of that moment again, Alex Badalato, whose general play again has been so good tonight. Just missing that finishing touch. Was a top scorer in the NPL 2 competition for the Western Sydney Wanderers a couple of years ago as just a 17-year-old. He's gone to higher honours since then, including A-League men's appearances and call-ups for Australian junior national teams, but the talent has always been abundant, as you can see by him just reeling that ball in like it's second nature. Hollingdale for Badalato. Gurditch. So the Wanderers just try to wrestle back some of the momentum by keeping their foot on the ball. Keeping it, trying to shift Marconi out of their structure. That's easier said than done. And again, Daniel is not giving Younes a moment's breathing space. Thrown in towards Sapsford. Younes looking to be active again, but Daniel's so aware of the danger he poses. Getting his body between man and ball again. Cameron pondering over the throw. Sapsford and Lenarich tangling. And Cameron Windust seeing, well, what he thought was a Wanderers touch. Ivica Kovic and Aranath Gorbanath disagreed on the decision. Kovic saw a goal kick, and that's the opinion that matters. That's a lovely turn from Dom Costanzo, just to give himself a yard and allow Marconi runners to join in. Lenarich, Sapsford a bit closer to him than he anticipated. Bowman hard but fair into the challenge with Younes. This is where the Wanderers have improved from a year ago. Of course, their attacking play is more intricate and cutting. We've seen glimpses of that already tonight, but it's their ability to just manage matches a little bit better. Absorb the sustained periods of pressure that oppositions are putting together against them. Really struggled with that last season. shown an improved aptitude for it in season 2024. Lovely switch of play from Oyama. Costanzo again the threat for Marconi. Goes near post this time and Harper read it all the way. Younes getting his head down and then up to try and find teammates. Trying to squeeze it through with the outside of his right foot. Cam Windust has looked very, very comfortable through the centre of the park so far tonight. Little lapse in concentration that allowed the equaliser. Since then, he's been at the heart of everything good they've done defensively. In the absence of Nathan Milgate tonight. Chance here for the Wanderers on the counter-attack though. Cicluna all the way forward. Younes back into a dangerous area, and Bulgaria, who was looking to make something of it, was nudged off it as he made his run from deep. Still Marconi, as was the case for a large portion of the start of this first half, just can't get out of their own half of the field. Wanderers' press has been tidy to win the ball back high up the pitch, and then they've been happy to control possession, not allow their opponents to get forward regularly. Goals both coming inside the first 10 minutes. Hiro Oyama for Marconi, his second league goal of the season, and a seventh of the year for Zach Sapsford in the NPL New South Wales men's competition. Tried to, he's won in the A-League men's in the derby. Costanzo's ball in is well directed. Jesic forcing the save from Harper. Wasn't the flashiest save. Harper made the dive, but really was pretty comfortable in getting there. But that's a couple of headers he's had to palm away. Both goalkeepers have been busy in this first half. Jesic looking to try and reel that one in. Even with him as the lone striker in the absence of Temolkovski tonight, Marconi, after his red card last weekend against Blacktown City, they've looked daring when they have gone forward. Costanzo's picking up probably a little bit more responsibility. He's entrusted maybe with a little bit too much of it over the past couple of seasons. Needing him to reprise that role a little. Although Franco Meyer's a helping hand on the other flank, that's for sure. He's getting to that head of the Uruguayan. Vela's touch takes the ball off the toe of Badalato, but out of play for a throw. Goals are plenty down at the Illingdon Sports Centre as well tonight. St George have had one pulled back by Sutherland as that game approaches half-time. That's the only change in the scores that I brought you a bit earlier. Reminder, you can find all those games where you found this one on the Football New South Wales YouTube page. No games in the men's comp. Oh, now there's a coming together here between Chelina and Marko Jesic, because there was a coming together. Referee Kovic is on the spot to try and make sure it doesn't go any further. Two having words. Youth and experience clashing in not the prettiest way there. That's a brilliant challenge from Liam Yulee. Only back from injury a couple of weeks ago, and then another heavy challenge going in, which has got players coming together. And now Kovic is just asking for all those protests to cool down, please. So, Kovic mentioned that little coming together between young Roman Chelina and the very experienced Marko Jesic. Both went up for a ball in the air, and Chelina almost ended up going over the top of Jesic. Free kick has gone Marconi's way. And the referees might be looking for a reprieve at the break as much as anyone. Certainly the players and the physical nature of this one. It's made an entertaining watch for us, the neutral, which has had both its silk and steel in equal measure. Daniel was chased back the whole way by Sapsford. A couple of appeals for a handball from Marconi. Most of them were from the touchline. Jesse Cameron's ball. Eunice turned it over. Not in the best area either. Chance for Costanzo to deliver with his left foot. Myers at the back post waiting. And there were a few others Marconi might have liked that chance to fall to with their head. That's not Franco Myers' specialty by any stretch of the imagination. One of the shortest players on the pitch, and certainly didn't look comfortable with the finish when it came his way. Harper more accurate in his distribution this time, finding Eunice. Sapsford looking to get off the shoulder. Now, this is an interesting decision because Sapsford was certainly offside, but he didn't pick up the ball. Sapsford did make a move towards it though. And Gobinath, who's the assistant on the near side, flagged as soon as he'd made that run towards the football. And the Wanderers would be best to forget about all this. They need to get back and get in their defensive shape because Marconi are looking to pounce while their protests continue. Costanzo. Squares up Cameron again, delivers on his right foot. Back there doing the defending was Badalato, and then Cicluna smart enough to win the goal kick. So we tick into stoppage time. Fourth official Jackson Mackey tells us there's just 1 minute to be added on, and it has barely stopped for breath this first half. Both goals coming inside the first 10 minutes. First to Hiro Oyama of Marconi. Equaliser from Zach Sapsford, the Western Sydney Wanderers captain, and a name well known to Australian football fans by now, due to his big impact in big games in the A-League men's, namely Sydney derbies, where his only 2 senior goals have been. Oyama again. Yuli and Bauman turning past Hollingdale. He's got Vella up in support. That was an ill-advised option from the Marconi right back. Presses to try and correct his error. Vicikovic saves himself another free kick decision and decides to bring a frantic first half to a close. Oyama's goal got the scoring started from a situation that really looked to be coming to nothing. The equaliser coming barely 2 minutes later from Zach Sapsford. The Wanderers had a period on top. Marconi managed to wrangle the momentum back their way, but it is very finely balanced as both teams head back to their respective dressing rooms at the break here at Wanderers Football Park. In the heart of Western Sydney, the referees have not had an easy time of it out there, drawing plenty of complaints from both coaches. They'll be keen for the reprieve as well at the break at Wanderers Football Park. It is Western Sydney Wanderers 1, Marconi Stallions 1. Welcome back to Wanderers Football Park. The second half about to get underway between the Marconi Stallions and the hosting Wanderers, with the scores level at 1 apiece. Hiro Oyama's opener quickly cancelled out by Zach Sapsford. Inside 10 minutes, both teams had chances to test the goalkeeper of their opposition in the first half. And if the pace of the game continues, you think a third or fourth goal are not too far away. It's been a terrific watch for the neutrals. The Wanderers' young talent, which has been so impressive across the opening half of this NPL New South Wales men's season, has continued to show off. Just looking for something on the scoreboard to lock in something that they can turn into 3 points and a return to the top of the table tonight. As it sits, they'll sit second behind Rockdale Illingdon after their win over Sydney FC's youth team yesterday. Tempers have frayed, the football's been fiery. One that you have not been able to take your eyes off across the opening 45 minutes. It doesn't look as though that's about to change. Oyama's looking for his second of the night. Thumps it across and into Gerdich. He and young Roman Chelina have looked solid at the back since the Wanderers copped that opening goal. It's almost a goal that neither team were really ready for. Certainly the Marconi weren't in their response to that, which will disappoint Peter Sekenis, but their performance in their ability to absorb the pressure that the Wanderers offered later in that first half will be more encouraging. Got the first real winter conditions that we've had across the NPL New South Wales men's this evening. Still in double digits, but not be too far above that. Has not hurt the football by any stretch of the imagination. Both teams have been flying into challenges and playing some enterprising football. Hopefully that continues as we get into the second half. No supporters allowed in tonight after the Flares let off in the Sydney Olympic fixture here last weekend. Led to a bit of an eerie feel around the ground at times, but the football's not suffered for that so far this evening. Gario is trying to work it forward. This has been very much the arm wrestle through the middle of the park, which has characterised large patches of the game. Neither team really able to establish a foothold for too long in their opponent's attacking half. The Wanderers have probably edged it in terms of that, but there's been a lot of attacking done in transition, as the Wanderers are looking to do here. Marcus Eunice with space in front of him, really for the first time tonight, and Anton Lenaric was across to cut out anything that was about to get started. Another of the savvy signings from Sekenis in the off-season, moving up from Oakley in the NPL Victoria in the off-season. He and Cameron Windust, long time of the Central Coast Mariners Academy, have formed a good pair in the absence of Nathan Milgate tonight through suspension. And here is young Chelina with Donny Gerdich, one of the more senior members of the Wanderers squad. Bulgaria, it's been a goal threat all season. He's looking to play in somebody else there. Looked as though Babalato was closest to it. The ball hoisted towards the benches on the far side. Neither coach Christensen or Sekenis has been seated really at all so far tonight. Sapsford went to ground. He's not had the rub of the green in terms of the officiating, certainly from his own perspective, since getting the goal. James Hilton just taking his time over this goal kick. Marconi seemed to have figured that slowing the tempo has suited them a little more than their opposition. Team that are more methodical in getting forward until they can hit their real creative fulcrums in Costanzo and Franco Maya. Younes just let it evade him. Bulgaria slides it in for Marcus Younes. He's got space off the line. Brilliant goal line clearance from Cameron Windust. Marconi nearly suffering a second early goal and a half tonight, bailed out by their centre half. Younes was barely able to escape the attention of George Daniel, Marconi's left back, throughout the entirety of the 45 minutes in the first half. He's already had a good sight at goal in the second, and a follow-up corner to come. Hollingdale's been on these duties all evening, curling it away towards Sapsford. Couple of green bodies in the way, and now Costanzo looking to run. That's cut off before it could begin. Bulgaria again. And Molinaric's got a foot in. Windust having to knock it behind again. Unless Hollingdale keeps it in, which he does. And then Costanzo getting back to do the defending. This has been the nature of the game. Cannot take your eyes off it. Frantic in its pace and intensity in these cool conditions has suited both sets of players. Chelina. Cicluna, who got forward consistently from left full back in the first half. He's got a few goals this year, in addition to his entry into Marco Rudan's first team for periods of the A-League men's season. Badalato just having it nicked off his toe, and once again Marconi will try to go quickly in transition. Clever from Cicluna, evades Maya, and then skips past his challenge, runs into Windust, which has been a consistent theme of the evening. Oyama, who got it all started with his goal inside 5 minutes, linking up with Jesic. Cicluna stayed forward, so there's space down the left. Oh, how about that from Hiro Oyama? Only one goal all season before tonight. His second of the evening is a beauty. And it gives Marconi the lead early in the second half. One the visitors will feel they have built and built towards. They come out the stronger for the second half in a row, and they get their rewards for the second half in a row. Jesic, the architect, he was the man who picked the option when Oyama fed him initially. Weighted his pass superbly, but there was still a lot to do for the Japanese midfielder, and didn't he take his chance? And the Wanderers might be sick of the sight of him. He got a goal at Fairfield Showground in the second game these two played last year. And he's come back to bite them again. An opposition he enjoys. Well, the Wanderers are trying to strike back. Straight away again, Windust sticking his foot in. And the call from Sikenis, who is not adverse to barking orders from the touchline, is to keep the ball. The Wanderers certainly had the majority of the possession in the first half. Even if they didn't dominate with it. That ball down into the corner didn't have a red and black recipient waiting for it. So that sticks the Wanderers into an awkward position. Now sitting on the brink of their third loss in 4 matches. Couple out tonight, including their top scorer, Nathaniel Blair. Certainly, May has been a less enjoyable theme for Western Sydney of trying to arrest their slide rather than taking the game to opponents. Certainly they've tried to do that tonight, and Marconi had to sit on the back foot for quite a period in that first half. They absorbed that pressure and they got their just rewards early in the second. And now things will get more difficult for the Wanderers, because Marconi are very disciplined when they choose to set in one of the best defences in the competition for the last couple of seasons. And Franco Mai is trying to make it worse. Well, last touch was his, though. The ball trickles behind for a goal kick. Gorgeous ball in field. Battolato has his pass cut out by Daniel, who's been impressive all night at left full-back. And the theme of taking chances might be one that is looked back on in the postscript, because Marcus Younis had a very good opportunity to give the Wanderers the lead. Ayama again. They just can't get a handle on him through the middle of the park at the moment. And suddenly it might be the Wanderers looking to just slow the tempo a little. Turned over again, but deep in their own half. Maya, perhaps a little ambitious from a best part of 30 yards out. Battolato sweeping back to stop the danger. Younis ducking inside. He'll be the one they're looking to change the game. Mlinaric throwing his body in the way. Perfectly timed. Jesse Cameron from right full back. Younis was engaged by Mlinaric before the ball had met him, but the contact didn't lead to a foul. On a freezing cold night, the Wanderers need to make sure that the tempers and frustrations of what has unfolded over the last hour or so don't get the better of them. There is still a game to be saved here. Mlinaric strong enough to nudge Sapsford off it. Hoisted over the top. Awkward one for Gerdic. Did very well with Jesic hunting him with every step. Now it's Marconi who are looking to be a little bit more proactive with their defence. Nice piece of defensive work from Bauman. Cicluna. Nice bit of work. Hollingdale was looking to play the return ball to his left full back, who was always behind in the race to the ball. Touch from Battolato, but turned over, and the Wanderers are going to be very careful that they don't get caught in transition again here. Oh, Yuli was stretching. Had to be very careful, and now he's getting into some afters with Chelina. Not for the first time that the young centre-half has been involved in little fracas off the ball. Everybody coming together. And Vicikovic is going to be urged to take control. Gobinath has come off the near touch line. Couple of shouts from the few officials that have been let in tonight as well, which is probably not helping things. Now there's a decision to be made here for Liam Yuli, whose initial challenge was the problematic one. He goes into the book and is being held away by Cam Windust. Certainly the arm around Roman Chelina wouldn't have helped. Donny Gerdic is getting probably a little bit too involved. Franco Maya, the coolest of everyone in there, but still making his argument heard. Now Marko Jesic says, that'll be my job. So Gobinath and Kovic having the conversation. And that is all. No yellow card to Roman Chelina. Wins out of that little stash. Can the Wanderers use this little fiery moment? Another heavy challenge in there from Bauman, but it was all ball. And Jesic might be looking to catch them on the counter, because Costanzo's got green grass in front of him. Ducks inside his defender and beats the goalkeeper at his near post. Double trouble for the Wanderers in the second half. Marconi's lead is 3-1. Dominic Costanzo beating his defender and beating Harper at his near post. It's the fleeting moments we've seen from Dom Costanzo this season. Comes up with a telling goal for Marconi. And it's looking less and less likely that the Wanderers will sit top tonight. Sweet piece of work. And Marconi have been so impressive in taking their chances when they've fallen their way in this second period. They've turned the game around. Wanderers looked not the dominant, but certainly to have the upper hand in the first half. Marconi have come out in the second and put that right for their supporters. Gooley knocks it over the top. And now what do these young Wanderers have in an answer? Had to battle back after 2 late goals. Had them pegged back. Nathaniel Blair got a late free kick and a late winner against Olympic last weekend. That's a very crude challenge from Cicluna. And that will be a yellow card. One of the easier decisions referee Kovic has had to make tonight. Windus, you wouldn't describe as a tough tackling centre half, but he's certainly one who gets stuck in. I'm not sure how many he's on the end of like that. Cicluna's not really a player known for dishing them out, but perhaps just wound up in the heat of the moment. Certainly late and was not pulling out. Can Marconi manage their way to a result now? Would be a big one for them after a frustrating month. Marconi will move back up into third place if they are able to hang on here. Bulgaria, who's been so effective against opponents a little lower down the table this season, has not been able to find time and space regularly this evening. Gerdich won that header. And it's been turned over again. And Costanzo is full of running and enthusiasm and energy. Ball played over the top. Meyer with a spectacular effort, but couldn't keep it on target. And now the first substitutions of the evening. Wanderers have to try and turn the game, so they turn to their bench. Such has been the frantic nature of the action tonight. I've not been able to bring you any of the players on there. Anthony Barbic, the 19-year-old, is the man being brought on. End of the road for the midfielder Marcus Fernandez. Haven't called his name too often this evening. One of the inclusions tonight. Saps it over the top. Cicluna can be a game changer if he's allowed to get forward a little more than he's been able to in the second half. Sees talent on the football there. Oh, Hollingdale got a dreadful bounce, still managed to keep possession and then turned it over. Jesic will be happy to play with his back to goal for the rest of the evening if it means Marconi hang on to a result. This is the old Dom Costanzo, dancing through defenders, the ball forward not matching the footwork there, but the pressure Marconi are providing now is giving the Wanderers real trouble. And Oyama has looked the coolest man on the pitch all evening. Nice piece of defensive work from Jesse Cameron. Bulgaria linking up with Yunus, and running from deep is Badalato. Such a beautiful mover with the ball at his feet. Didn't have too many options ahead of him though, so just has to go square for Hollingdale. Nice work from Cameron. Squares it up. Bulgaria looking to give it back, and he looks well onside apparently, and a good save from Hilton. Appeals for handball from the Marconi bench, waved away. Still the attack alive for Western Sydney. Bulgaria again. Scrapping for it was Cameron, then Hollingdale. Cicluna just weighing up his options. Marconi have been able to get back now, the transition's over. Barbic playing it wide. Eunice! Solid strike, but it was straight at Hilton. Less favoured, his left foot. Still got plenty of power in it. A little bit further to Hilton's right, and it would have given him some problems. And with every restart Marconi are allowed, including Hilton hoisting the ball forward. They'll take every second allowed to them. Chalina and Jesic both had hold of each other. That was a good piece of work from the inclusion tonight, making it just his 6th appearance of the year. Gerdic has been involved quite a bit more, usually alongside the likes of Anthony Pantazopoulos, who's not in the squad this evening. Another one of those alongside Blair, not featuring this evening. I wonder if the young Wanderers are feeling their absence tonight. Cicluna. Clever run from Bulgaria if he's timed it. Hilton had to use his head literally. Oh, it's a sloppy touch from Jesic. He'll be hoping for better the next time the ball sees his feet. Hasn't had to play the starring role tonight, the captain. He has had a taste of the goals in recent weeks. Haven't needed him tonight. Hiro Oyama has been that main threat from midfield, aided by Dom Costanzo, whose 4th goal of the evening, that's the 4th goal of the match, not to him, has given Marconi this 3-1 lead. Now Jesic with older legs, but a wiser head, timed his run. Costanzo joining in, as he always loves to do. Oh, how about the artistry to flick that ball up in the air. Wasn't far away from finding Maya either. And Ivica had a good view of that and points to the corner flag. Franco Maya with a wry smile as he moves over to take this one. The Uruguayan has not been involved in all the antics tonight, and his quality has shone through. We'll call that the curse of the commentator. Not his best effort this evening. Second substitution coming for the Wanderers now. Looks as though it's going to be a double change. Hollingdale has been entrusted with the majority of the set pieces tonight. Is removed. A strapping figure of Owen Lual, who got a goal in the 20s game which preceded this one, has joined us. I'll bring you the second one, and Windust with a crunching challenge on Eunice. We'll see him booked in a minute, but that's not the pressing issue. Sapsford looking to drag the Wanderers back in, looking for Lual. Eventually Marconi's weight of numbers see the ball away. Danger not cleared completely though. Cicluna. And that ball was a little ambitious. Franco Maya back in the position that he came to Australia playing, which was as a fullback or a wing back, showing his defensive aptitude there. And now Costanzo looking to just stride away from Gerdic, who made ground quickly. Those long strides across to cut out the danger. Lual. Eunice has switched flanks. Couldn't get onto that one, but he made sure Hilton didn't have a comfortable time clearing. And now Ivica comes back to book Cameron Windust, who knew exactly what was coming. Been a few of them dished out tonight. Has been a fiery encounter. Wanderers team look at a completely different one to the one that were beaten 4-0 at this venue last season by Marconi. They've made much more of a match of this. It's looked more similar to the 3-3 draw that they played late in the year. It was a crucial point in the end that dragged them a little further clear of the relegation spots. Been outthought more than outplayed this evening. And still there's a chance of them turning it around. Bulgaria's found a second wind in this second half. It's looked a more telling influence. Zach Sapsford's been on the fringes since his goal, but managed to win that one back. Badalato and Lawal linking up. Yunus, flashing feet as ever. Strong enough to see off the initial challenge of Vela. Now Franco Myers over on the right to do the defending. Then he's turned it over. His opposite number picks it up. Yunus, touched away. Players just getting in little scraps with each other. Most of them contested the ball, occasionally off them. Ball knocked forward and Bulgaria just had his run cut off by Vela. Marconi wanted a foul throw. Not having an easy time of it tonight, the official. Sapsford with a ball at his feet. Lawal with a clever run. Can he get there? The second clearance off the line of this second half from Marconi. This time it's Mlinaric. He and Windust have just been in the right places at the right times since the break. And to be fair to them, for quite a while before it as well. So Kenneth looks as though he's about to make his first change. Bring you the details of that when they fall to us. It's going to be Cicluna over to take this corner. Rising to head was Mlinaric. While opting just to keep possession for the moment. No doubt it'll be not long before Gigliotti, who's was the second of those substitutions at that stoppage I mentioned a little bit earlier with Lawal. He's had an interesting young career. Into as far-flowing a place as Cyprus. Not too many footballers' careers will take them there. It's already been and returned. Cicluna out to the right. Looks as though Christensen's gone to a back three as he chases this game. Sapsford just doesn't have the strength to stay with Mlinaric, who had front spot in the little battle for that football the whole way. Bellman, who's been calm when he's needed to be. You can say the same of Maya. That was a brilliant challenge from Sapsford, who's showing the leadership qualities that have got him that armband. And now this time Chelina, not for the first time tonight, has been involved in a little thing like that. And Chelina's probably lucky that he didn't follow through with the challenge he did pull out. Vela's not happy with it. He's been involved in a lot of that tonight. And it's a yellow card. Marconi seemed to think that Chelina's been booked already, and according to my records, that's not the case at all. They wanted him to be booked a couple of times, but Kovic Marconi are continuing with this complaint. I think they're a little bit misplaced in their discussions here. Marconi have got to be very careful they don't get themselves into some unnecessary trouble here. There's going to be coming together between the officials here. Vela, again, is convinced. And now a substitution is going to be pointed for. Marconi are continuing this discussion. Brandon Vela is absolutely blowing a gasket here. Jesic is not too far behind him. So the substitution's not going to be made here, or is it? Yeah, Franco Myers picked up the ball, anticipating that the change is about to be made. And now the Wanderers bench up and at the edge of their technical area as well. Liam Yulee is going to be the man to be removed. Yulee might be happy to get out of the fray of this one. Marconi certainly fired up as they look to defend this 2-goal lead. Meyer with bodies forward to aim for again. They're certainly not holding back because of the lead. Winder sneaking into an unmarked position and then stuck home by Jesic. That will seal it. He was always bound to in a game like this, Marko Jesic. He performs on the back of the fire he provides himself. He's been in a rich vein of goal-scoring form after a slow start to the season. It's gaining momentum, and Marconi is gaining momentum for them as well as this second half wears on. The Wanderers out of the rear vision mirror, and they might be over the hill. Four goals to one to the Stallions. It doesn't matter how many the Wanderers have on the pitch. It's going to be a very, very tall task to turn this one around now. Certainly not going to die wondering though. Ball's played straight forward, and Marconi have just got to be careful not to switch off as they did in the first half after scoring the goal, allowing Zach Sapsford's equaliser in quick time. And now Marconi's player is down on the far side. I mentioned that the Wanderers might have been outthought rather than outplayed this evening. Well, the physio is going to be out. To treat the man down at left full back. It's George Daniel who was really at the centre of a lot of the action in the first half, and the physio has straight away called for a substitution. So Marconi are about to make changes finally, although Sir Kenneth has not really had to think about it in the second half. Such has been the dominance of his side. Now the focus for both teams, I think, will be getting to the end of the game with 11 players. Oh, and the well-timed challenge from Mlinaric never seems to go in with any more venom than is required. Bardovic's ball forward has stayed in play, and Sapsford goes through the back of the Marconi centre-half, who doesn't get the free kick, I don't think, but has got the throw. Seems to be a decision having to be made every 10 seconds or so. And now Peter Kenneth is venturing much too far out of his technical area for the officials' liking, certainly. See Liam Yulee in the background of your shot there. He's seen enough. He's heading back to the dressing rooms. Was one of those Marconi players booked in the first half. For the referees, the challenge is just going to be to get to the end of this game now. The result seemingly decided. And now the substitutions do come for Marconi. They've been long promised. And now there's going to be discussions about this, because we've not been able to do anything tonight, simply. And Hiro Oyama is, well, really robbed of his deserving applause. He certainly gets the congratulations for the bench for his 2 goals this evening. Well earned. Baumann in for Costanzo, whose goal to make it 3-1 really killed this game off somewhat. Wanderers are going to try and show us their football, but Sapsford couldn't sort his feet out. Manages to recover, but concedes the throw. And Marconi will slow the pace of play to every extent that they're allowed as the second half wears on now. Meyer into the arm of Sapsford, but considering he was a yard away, I don't think a handball was ever going to be given. Sloppy little touch there from Marconi. That was one of the substitutes, Luke Rasso. Cholina up with the initial ball. Mombasa, the second of the substitutes, brings that one down for his first touch since coming on. Dylan Susovic is the third. And you just saw him get a touch of the ball and play it back towards his own goal wearing those bright pink boots. Mlinaric wants it down the other end now. He's going to be key in managing this game out for Marconi. The pass inside wasn't the best, and Gigliotti's good work comes to nothing. Now Jesic is calling for Cone. Looks as though he's moved into a midfield position with Rasso moving into the right full-back role. Be careful playing it with it back there in this situation. Marconi, Bauman's probably the man you want with the football there. And the man at his back. Hilton launches it clear. Costanza did well to win the initial header. Badalato, who's faded out of this second half. Certainly his influence has been limited by the discipline of the Stallions through midfield, so he drops deep and tries to provide a little bit more cutting edge going forward. It's Ryan Devine has been brought on for the Wanderers as well, moving into the left full-back role. Badalato looking for him. Well cut out by Rasso. He's become a regular off the bench for Sekenes over the past couple of seasons. Susovic. Costanzo, it's almost his trademark, those little clipped balls over the top. Mombasa for Rasso. Gurdic didn't have anyone near him, but didn't seem to be aware of that fact. Did well to prevent the ball from going behind for a corner. It's set to be a big win for Marconi. They've got a tricky couple of fixtures coming their way. Travel down to Wollongong to face the Wolves, who are on a good run of form, visiting Manly United tonight. It's a 3 o'clock kickoff on Sunday down at Wynn Stadium. Another big fixture between two of the teams slated for the National Second Division next year. Oh, that's a terrible mistake from Harper, who was anticipating that the ball was just going to fall to him. It fell into dead space. And I think Windust is going to claim it. That's certainly the discussion that's been had between the Marconi players. And an unfortunate error makes it 5. And the Wanderers are going to be very careful now that they're not hit for 6 for the second time inside 4 weeks. It seems such a momentum-gathering win, that one here against Olympic last weekend. I went into the break at 1-1 and playing some of the better football, but Marconi have come out in the second half with a cutting edge that the Wanderers have not been able to match. It's been a game that's been engulfed in fire at times on a chilly evening in Sydney's western suburbs. As though it's about to flame out, certainly for the Wanderers, who all the vigour and verve and energy that they were playing with in the early stages of this game have just gone out like a light. Challenges now for Andrea Christensen. Certainly they performed above what many thought they would in the opening half of the season. Having said that, they've got plenty of talented players and a squad that plenty of teams in the competition would envy. Perhaps the youth showing through a little tonight, as it did against Apia a couple of weeks ago. A little bit of an easier run coming their way in the next couple of weeks. They travel to the lowly Sutherland Sharks next weekend at Seymour Shore, a 4:30 kickoff on Saturday afternoon. Costanzo, deflected effort, and Harper had rather more time to read where that one was going. The encouraging thing for Christensen is I don't think any who have watched this game in its entirety will have said that the Wanderers have played poorly. It could be read two different ways, I suppose, as well. Just a few lapses in concentration and perhaps a little bit of the extracurricular that's gone on around this game has affected them a little more than it has Marconi. It's well done by Ryan Devine to keep possession and shrug off the attentions of his defender. Shalina central for Badalato. Bulgaria made a couple miss, but his final touch took him a little wide. Even Jesic getting back doing some defending now, and Hilton with a commanding take. Wanderers just throwing numbers forward now, looking a little more open at the back. That was not too far from reaching Marko Jesic. Hilton held a hand up in apology, but the intent wasn't wrong. It's only a couple of yards short of the execution as well. Curling ball from Gigliotti for Lual. Hasn't got too much support with him and went down rather easily under the challenge of Mlinaric. Mentioned that next up game for the Wanderers at Seymour Shore against Sutherland, and then they face Hills United, who are another well into the bottom half of the table. So a chance to turn around this losing run, and I call it a run. They did get that win against Sydney Olympic last weekend, but it's been one that has just cut into their title hopes somewhat. Certainly attentions might, well, they probably won't turn yet to just staying inside the top six rather than chasing that premiership. That would be historic. No academy side has managed that feat in the top tier of New South Wales football to stay with it over the entirety of a season, or indeed qualify for the final series. Sydney FC went closest to doing that a couple of years ago. Wanderers still might be able to make that bit of history, but premiership hopes are slipping away. Going to fall into third position on the table tonight, overtaken by Rockdale Illingdon and Apia Leichhardt. Challenge that's got the ball according to the referee, and wanting to play the advantage rather. Gigliotti, the man responsible for the free kick, and Marconi are happy that there's been no yellow card pulled out. It's not going to make any material difference to the game. Costanzo still having his protests heard. And there's still more bodies forward. Marconi want a sixth here if they can get it. And perhaps a little bit ill-disciplined from Costanzo in going for goal there. Tempers have frayed throughout the 90 minutes this evening. Oh, sloppy touch from Gurditch. And the appeals are getting a little silly now from some on the touchlines. We're into stoppage time, 6 minutes for Marconi to see out. They should be well and truly able to do that. Yakov Malbasa winning the throw. There's Luka Nesevic. Another of the late subs. Nice bit of footwork from Malbasa. Russo's square ball was under pressure from Sapsford and turned it over. Bulgaria. Sapsford. Nice touch. Van Lual. It's all arms and legs and using them very nicely. Just dragged off it by Brandon Vella. He's got to be careful. He's already been booked. Badalato has just not been able to find the form. Had him looking like the most dangerous player on the park in the first half. Chilly night that has cooled the Wanderers' title hopes. Two goals from Hiroaki Oyama, added on to by a very impressive third from Dom Costanzo. And goals to Marko Jesic and Cam Windust as well, which have more than sealed the result. Harper playing out. Physical battle right on halfway. This time the decision goes the way of Zach Sapsford. He's not had too many of those in the second half. So Cluna's still full of intent, as is Sapsford. Bulgaria might look to get a shot away. Was shadowed by Mlinaric the whole way along. Susevic did well to battle for it with a tired-looking Badalato. And Dom Costanzo is in his favourite space with green grass in front of him. Cicluna had to time it, didn't get there. Costanzo looking to stand it up, and Cicluna recovers. That's a sloppy touch, just allowed Franco Mayer in. He's just drifted in and out of this game. Attentive as he's needed. Filling in at left back at the closing stages and looking as impressive there as he did higher up the pitch earlier in the evening. Martignano is now on at centre half as well for Marconi. Time for Barbic. Can the Wanderers find a late consolation? Sapsford is looking that way. Ducking inside a couple. Can shoot from distance or feeds. Bulgaria, who's around the goalkeeper and does make it 5-2. Probably a little less than the Wanderers have deserved in this second half. There's been no doubting their aptitude and certainly their attentiveness to trying to get back into this game. Opened up as they chased it. The late goal makes it 5-2, and it'll be a note in the post-game more than anything, but something to take away. Cold kindness as this game draws to a close. And now they're looking rather loose at the back. Costanzo didn't time his run. quick nature of the game has turned to a little bit of franticness from the Wanderers as they've chased it, despite that late goal. Butter with a bit of a soft turnover in reality. Perhaps understand that given the scoreline. Nice touch from Battleato. Warren again from Lenarich. Chance to make something of it down the right for Gigliotti. Throw will do. Sapsford falls to the turf, not for the first time in this second half, under a firm but fair challenge. Battered and now beaten, the Wanderers captain. So much excitement going around the ground when he got his equaliser early in that first half. Not been his night since. Not been the Wanderers' night really since that moment. Had their chances. Marcus Yunus might have made it 2-1 early in the second half, but Marconi have been dominant since that point. They showed off all their experience in seeing out this game and adding those goals as they presented themselves. Wow, wants a man running forwards. Tried to slip it inside Maya. But as usual, he's done his job defensively well. Cicluna. Well, he's probably been the Wanderers' best all evening, Dylan Cicluna. Deserve his goal for his efforts. He was searching for Sapsford. Just can't stretch quite far enough for it. Susovic. Tucked inside from Barbic to Bulgaria. Battleato, Cicluna. Well, a chance for the Wanderers to turn things around next weekend when they travel down to Sutherland, but that is cold comfort this evening. After such an impressive start, in which they looked the more likely to make it 2-1, Marconi turned the tide. Hiroaki Ayama, the hero for them, with a brace either side of half-time, early in both halves, in fact. Dom Costanzo added an impressive third in a fiery encounter before Marko Jesic and then Cam Windust put the cherries on top. Sapsford and Bulgaria on the score sheet for the Wanderers, but too little and too late in terms of the second on a night that leaves them off the top of the ladder for the first time in a little over a month. Been a pleasure to bring you this one from Wanderers Football Park, one that was fiery in patches and certainly full of flashpoints, but in the end has ended in favour of the visitors. It ends here at Wanderers Football Park. Western Sydney Wanderers 2, Marconi Stallions 5.